I've got opinions on this, and it's going to be different than people think. Do you?
I do too. That's why I put this in good news, bad news. Because, listen to this and you tell me what you think. Much of Gen Z wants less sex on screen, a new study finds. All right? So, contrary to what we've all been implicitly led to believe all this time, people might be feeling the slightest bit prudish, at least according to this headline. So here's what it says. The Center of Scholars and Storytellers at UCLA published the new Teens and Screens report Wednesday, gathering data from 1,500 members of Gen Z about what they want to see in the media they consume, whether their screen of choice is a TV or a smartphone. According to the study, 51.5% of adolescents ranging from 10 to 24 want to see content that puts more emphasis on friendships and platonic relationships than romantic relationships, especially romantic relationships involving sex. 47.5% of young people say that sex isn't necessary for the plot of most TV shows and movies. The responses are based on studies showing an epidemic of loneliness among teenagers and teens having less sex than their parents did at their age, and most current programs don't reflect that, as Dr. Yalda Oles, founder and director of CSS, explained in a press release with the release of the study results. So the idea is that, or at least it's being kind of pushed this way, that maybe, well, it's not that they don't want, they want to see different kinds of relationships, like friendships, platonic relationships. Mm-hmm. They don't. So what do you think about all that?
This is like where you get what you asked for. Like the Christians have always been like, this is just too much. There's just too much of this stuff in these movies. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't about the S in these movies. It was about what they were pushing behind the scenes with including this in the movies. Like, it was like, okay, they're pushing their worldview of like, this is normal. This is normal.
Right.
So I understand that coming from a Christian perspective, but coming from a secular perspective, it makes absolutely no sense to me. And it means, to me, it means that society is getting further and further away from like a normal human relationship because people are getting more separated. So it's like, well, this isn't my experience. There's less sex in movies because we're getting more and more we're not getting more and more scruples. We're getting more and more farther from reality.
So, because in a way, like,
that the good is now actually bad, they're not including
So,
it. It means that we're getting worse almost. In a different sense.
I think I agree with you. I think I agree with you. I'm wrapping my head around it. So, right. Because growing up, that was always the frustration. It's like they throw this stuff in the movies, in the TV shows, characters constantly in and out of bed. Yeah. Or the classic trope of a romantic comedy is like, oh, they fell in love the night that they went for it.
Yes, and so that's a norm.
That's the shorthand or whatever to say, oh, they're in love now. They slept together.
Yeah.
And so it's never a discussion. It's never questioned, or it's just assumed to be true. It's like one of the truest things in all of movies and TV is just like, this is just a thing you do.
Yes, that's what is
a person. Yeah. So, right. So, but what you're saying is that on some level, there is a truth to that. That if you love somebody, this is what you do.
Yes.
But
they've subverted it though in some way.
So you're saying though that if just like the average kid out there or the average person is saying,
not a Christian.
I don't want to see this anymore. It's not that. It's that we're creating such a lonely, isolated society that people would just rather like, look, I don't need to. I mean, this is said.
Yeah.
I don't need to see this in movies. I can watch the real thing on my porn.
Exactly. Why would I? Why do
I have to watch this corny stuff?
Yeah.
Tell me a real story. Give me some real friendships. Yeah.
That's what it feels.
That's
like
kind of. That's sort of what I was thinking too.
It actually, this to me, this is a terrible sign.
Yeah. Okay.
In a very weird. This is bad news to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't. It's just like I was just talking to somebody. It's like if you're not on the same level of like being able to critique something in the same worldview at all, how do you relate to somebody?
Yeah.
Whereas if you have the same worldview, like, okay, we agree that like this shows that you love somebody. We can discuss and talk and like maybe have a conversation.
Yeah.
But if it's like, no, like that's just I don't. This isn't even like.
Yeah.
This isn't even something that I would want to even be a part of. Almost.
Yeah.
And what was concerning the most of what you read was that they were saying they don't want to see romantic movies, but also sex in movies especially. But it was like that was thrown into like, I don't want to see romance at all.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, these people are just seeing romance constantly because all they're doing is watching porn.
Right.
So that's like, why would you want to go and pay to see that?
I want to see something different. Show me, man, that's true. That's
true.
It's
disturbing. It's disturbing. We want it to go back to the original bad,
Yeah.
so that we can work together to fix things.
Yeah.
Now it's just over. I don't even know how we fix any of this. The
Yeah.
internet just needs to completely collapse or something for like
Yeah.
a week, so people can maybe
Think
get back
about
to
that.
normal.
If there was some sort of like EMP strike,
One
and
week.
the internet was gone, and there was no way to access that anymore, what would people do? Would people just all go into withdrawals? Like, would there be a freak out? Would people become more erratic or erotic, Jordan?
I don't know. I can't comprehend what they would do, Josh. Hey, look, as what I told Sarah, I went on a college campus recently, and it felt so off.
Right.
And I was like, why does this feel off? And I told Sarah, I was like, you know what it was? There was zero sexual tension between anybody. When you go on a college, remember
Right.
college campuses, it was like, there was always like, oh, you, maybe this guy or me, whatever. It was just like being interested in people.
Yeah.
When I was on college campus, I did not feel any amount of like brain activity with a person and another person of like, hey, maybe we could be together.
It's
in
like
some
this. It's like
sense.
this. It's like a weird dystopian type novel where it's not even. It's just boring. Right. It's like they've done something that both makes you crave sex, but also in real life not have any desire for it.
Yeah. Why? Yeah. Why would I?
Like I get the fulfillment in front of a screen. So in real life, why am I so sad? Why am I so lonely?
And then they can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's disturbing.
But then also this is the problem is that the opposite is not good either. It's like, I'm lonely, so I'm just gonna go crazy with everybody. And it's like, oh, now I'm still sad. Right. I still am lonely.
I don't know. There's that sexual tension in college. If like not just gone completely hog wild. That really, and think about it. That's why anything happened in history. That's why all these conquerors conquered stuff, because they were trying to show, hey, I'm a dominant guy. You want to be with me. That's why it was all for, in my estimation, it was all for trying to, just like I see these roosters that I have, constantly fighting each other and then herding their flock of hens away from the other ones, or fighting the other ones. They just know the hierarchy.
Yeah.
I think that's why guys and girls do most anything, is for that reason, even if it's completely subconscious. So I don't really know what people are doing.
Yeah.
For why now?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird thing. So this is bad news. Bad news.
Whew. Well, at the very least, maybe we will have less of this stuff in movies for a little bit.